The big news that was breaking overnight is this war that has broken out in Pakistan and India, and it has some really big global impacts because they are both legitimate and capable of a really intense war.
That's right. So both Pakistan and India are nuclear powers. And so that raises the stakes automatically when you start to see escalations. Now, the Kashmir region that is situated kind of in between both Pakistan and India, there's disputed territories. Now, all of this came out of the 1947 end of the British colonialism there, and they separated a partition, which became Pakistan, which was for the Muslim population. And then there was obviously India, which was the Hindu population. And Kashmir was a disputed region. There's part of it that is controlled by Pakistan. There is part of it controlled by India. There's even a small sliver that China has control over. And so it's kind of one of those hotbed areas where there's a lot of dispute over territory. Well, on April 22nd, there was a terrorist attack in India-controlled Kashmir, which killed 26 mostly Hindu tourists. Yep. And the Indian government blames the Pakistani government for that terror attack.
Yeah, let's break that down a little bit because I brought this up to you. I go, okay, well, what's the definition? What's the difference here between the word terrorist act or a terror act or maybe a military act?
Right. So this was conducted not by Pakistani military, like in uniform, and it was against tourists. It was gunmen that massacred individuals, that it wasn't a military conflict. It was pure terrorism, which we know there's a lot of extremist terrorist groups within Pakistan. But the Indian government holds them responsible, and actually a lot of these groups receive arms and financial backing by the government of Pakistan, and that all boiled up to yesterday when India attacked Pakistan.
And look, a lot of you have commented saying, Logan, we don't want to be involved in this, and I understand. But Will, you broke it down for me earlier of why the U.S. at least has to keep their eye on what's happening, because the global implications and the implications from China are something that we need to be alerted to.
That's right. So the concern here, one, is that these are two nuclear-armed states, that India has nuclear weapons and Pakistan has nuclear weapons. And whenever you have tensions or skirmishes or war breaking out between two nuclear-armed states, there is that potential that it could lead to a nuclear war. That is why they have those nuclear weapons, is that if they have to use them, they could. The problem that we have here is that this isn't such as the Russia-Ukraine issue, where there's this kind of broader proxy war where Russia maybe wants Ukraine, but also doesn't like the idea of Ukraine in NATO. So it's kind of this global entanglement that stems from that. And Russia has nuclear weapons, but Ukraine doesn't. So that's one of those more complicated, more geopolitical wars. This is a territorial dispute between two nuclear-armed nations, and that are always having issues back and forth. There's terror attacks that go on, and there are things that cause them to not get to a resolution. Now, when you have it start to break out again, what you need from the world is not, we're going to stand by you in war. That's not what we're talking about here. What you need is leadership from the United States to step in and try to get them to talk, come and de-escalate it quickly so that it doesn't become a nuclear war. Because a nuclear war drags the rest of the world into it. It causes all the other conflicts to somehow combine into one. And so that is what we're talking about when we say how it implicates the United States, is that, one, the relationship with India under President Trump has gotten very strong. You've seen the way that they have been communicating, the visits, J.D. Vance going to India. All of these things are pointing to signs also that the trade issues between the United States and India could actually see better days. India puts massive tariffs on anything American-made that is being sent to India. So there is positive movement and a good relationship with India. Now, Pakistan is also an ally of the United States. Mostly that was during the Cold War. We relied heavily on Pakistan for a lot of things to combat Russia. But Pakistan has a very, very good ally, and that's China. China hates India.
Yeah, and that's where it gets a bit hairy.
And China helped Pakistan develop their nuclear weapons. So at this time where there's tensions between China and the United States, and now there is a brewing conflict between Pakistan and India that could escalate, what we do not want is this crisis to escalate into a broader war where India is sided with the United States and China and Pakistan are sided, and it becomes a proxy war and becomes something much worse. And that's why I think what Senator James Lankford said was really strong about how American leadership can, unlike previous administrations, that when a skirmish broke out, it became a broader conflict. If you're looking at Russia and Ukraine, let's play Bite 6 about how real American strength and leadership can see a better way forward so that we don't end up in a situation like that. Bite 6.
This has been a long simmering issue on this. Now, Pakistan, just in the past couple of weeks even, has reached out to India and said, hey, we want to be able to resolve this. Obviously, military leadership there in Pakistan, but they've been very engaged trying to figure out how do we actually bring tensions down? What do we need to do? President Trump, President Modi have a close relationship there, but this is a phone call that President Trump's got to be able to make to be able to say, how do we de-escalate this situation? How quickly can we do it?
Rick, we wanted to bring you on because it's all over the news, and many people may wonder, do I even need to pay attention to something like this when, it's nothing, no big deal, two nuclear-armed states that are having a skirmish against each other with long-standing hostilities, not the greatest relationship, but I wanted to get your take on, one, where it is and how American leadership can be present in this to try and avoid an escalation that leads to a nuclear conflict.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think you said it right. We've got two nuclear powers, very powerful countries that America has good relations with both. And so we, of course, care because this is about war and peace and death and life and safety. So, of course, we care. I think President Trump hit it on the head yesterday when I asked about this, and he said, we're watching it. We hope it de-escalates, and we hope that this is over quickly. And that's a signal that we are, as Americans, our government is there to help diplomatically. We're not rushing in with some sort of a Pentagon response or hardware response. What I think is important is that we provide leadership to bring the parties together, to demand that they sit in a room and talk this out. President Trump is one of the greatest presidents for peace while not looking weak. And now think about that. When usually politicians talk about peace, they signal that they are very weak and unable to use the military in any way. And so it's this dove messaging that, can't we all just get along and hug it out? And that's not President Trump. President Trump has successfully used the military with military strikes. He understands the power of what the U.S. government has. And part of that power, besides just being the greatest country militarily, is the power of the bully pulpit if you have strong diplomats. President Trump has allowed our diplomats to be strong, and it's such a great combination, so unique in a president, and we're really lucky to have somebody who is so strong and shows the world that he's strong, but is willing to embrace peace and peaceful negotiations and diplomacy.
I think that has to be preached pretty loud from this administration about how different they are in terms of Republican and Democrat administrations that we've had before, which, like you said, it's always, it's peace through strength, but a lot of times it's peace through warfare or peace through getting involved in situations the American people don't want to get involved in. And I see that on YouTube, people saying, why are we getting involved? Why do we care what's going on? Caring and understanding and being a part of the conversation, getting those sit downs and having those moments of diplomacy is way different than getting involved militarily. We are so excited to announce the ACLJ's brand new app, completely redesigned to provide you with the best tools available to partner with us at the ACLJ. You can watch the daily Secular program, sign the petitions, customize your ACLJ membership experience, Donate with the click of a button and receive up-to-the-minute critical updates that the mainstream media can't censor. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to your phone's app store, search ACLJ, and click install. It's that simple.